Hey guys, today we're going to talk about how to use our calculator. So what we're going to do in our iPod is we are going to go through and label a bunch of these keys with what they do, and then when we're done with this video you'll have some time to actually practice with a real calculator. So let's start with the most basic. How do we turn on and off our calculator? Well, we're going to use the on key that's at the bottom right of our calculator. So you can draw a little arrow to that on key, and this turns your calculator on. It also turns your calculator off. So if you notice, the word off is written above it. In order to access the off, you are going to use the second key. The second key is at the top left of your calculator, and you use this to access anything that's in blue. So when you actually look at a calculator, if you've got one in front of you, you can probably see that all of the writing above these keys is in the color blue, and that means you have to press second before you press that key. So to turn off your calculator, you would have to hit second and then the on key. Now when you turn on, you get this blank screen and there's a little blinking cursor. We call this the home screen. So anytime I ask you to go back to the home screen, I'm just asking you to go to that main screen. All right, let's talk about our basic. Okay, let's talk about how we lighten and darken the screen. So sometimes when you turn the calculator on, it's too dark for you to see or it's too light for you to see. So if you see where your four arrows here, right in the middle, it looks like a moon that's half filled in. So this is what you use to lighten and darken. You hit second, and then you hold the up arrow to darken, and you hit second and you hold the down arrow to lighten. So you see that the top part of the circle is shaded in. That means you want to darken it. The bottom circle is not shaded in, so that would be lightening it. If we continue down, you've got your clear key. This does exactly what it says. It clears things for you. The little key under it, the little, I call it a caret or a little up arrow, this is what you use for exponents. The key below that, that is your division. This is what you will also use to input your fractions. Then you've got your multiplication, subtraction, and addition. And I just realized that I started drawing my arrows a different way. It doesn't matter how you draw your arrows, just as long as the key and what it does lines up. The enter key, this is equals. So if you type something in to be evaluated, you have to hit enter for it to actually give you the answer. Down at the bottom, you see the white key that's got, it looks like a subtraction symbol in parentheses. This is what you use for negative. Move this up just a bit. Don't worry about this here. Okay, the key to the left of that, that's going to be your decimal. Okay, if we move up, if you look above the 8 and the 9, you have your parentheses here. You're going to use your parentheses when entering fractions. So it's for fractions and evaluating. And we'll talk about evaluating in the next couple of days, and it'll make a little bit more sense to you why we use those parentheses to evaluate. Okay, if we go back to the left over here, under the second key is the alpha key. This allows you to do letters on your calculator. The math key, this key is very important as we move through the course. The math key takes you to a lot of different menus that allow you to do a lot of different things. So I'm going to put some of the important ones in here. So if you hit math, the very first option that you see, it's a little arrow that says frac. This turns decimals into fractions. The other thing is that if you cursor over to the num menu and then select option 1, ABS, that does absolute value for you. Now, as we move into talking about lines, we're going to be using the variable x a lot. To access that, we will use the xt theta n key here. So this will give us our variable x. So that gives you an introduction to a lot of the keys that we will be using when we use the calculator. There's also a couple other things that I just want to mention that are helpful. If you want to clear the memory, there are 5 keys that you want to press. Second, plus, 7, 1, 2. This is really helpful if you something happens to your calculator and it gets into a real funky mode. You can get it back to default by clearing the memory. The other thing that you'll be asked to do, especially on today's worksheet, is to type in mixed numbers. So to do that, you type in the whole number first, and then plus, and you put the fraction in parentheses. Now, the one thing you have to be careful about on the mixed numbers is when you put it in, don't worry about negative signs. So just as a note, add the negative sign at the end. So that means after you've typed it into your calculator and you get your answer, if it was supposed to be negative, then stick the negative on there. All right, so now we are going to practice this.